This is Lalit Chaitanya, lecturer in Commerce, Government City College. Today's topic is types of goods, and one more topic is performance of contract of sale. Let us move on to the types of goods. What is the definition of goods? We will have a look on that. According to section 2, subsection 7, goods means every type of movable property except actionable claims and money. And it includes stocks and shares or growing crops, grass and things or materials associated to or making a part of the land which are agreed to be stopped before sale or falls under the contract of sale of goods. So here the goods means every type of movable property except the actionable claims and money. It includes stock, shares, growing crops, grass, all this will be called as the goods. The contract related to goods is contract of sale. The contract related to goods is a contract of sale of goods. In this contract, seller transfers or agrees to move the property of goods to a buyer for a specific price. Here the items which are excluded from the term of goods are as follows. Any actionable claim, that is any claim to any debt or any beneficial interest in a movable property which is not in a possession. These claims are not liable for sale or purchasers, as they can only be ascertained or allocated. The legal tender, such as money and not the old and unique coins. Immovable properties. So these are the items which are excluded from the term goods. That is nothing but any actionable claim, that is any claim to any debt or any beneficial interest is in a movable property which is not in a possession. And also excluded from the term goods is the legal tender, such as money and not the old and unique coins. Excluded from the term goods, one more point is immovable property. Here we will move on to the classification of goods. The goods which are liable for the contract of sales are classified into following types. The first one is existing goods. Second one is future goods. Third one is contingent goods. Let us move on to the existing goods. The existing goods are those goods which are owned or possessed by the seller at the time of contract of sale. Here the existing goods which are owned by the seller at the time of contract of sale. The existing goods are further classified into specific goods, ascertained goods, unascertained goods. Now let us see what we mean by specific goods. Specific goods under section 2 subsection 14, the goods which are recognized and agreed upon during the time of contract of sale are known as specific goods. Here The goods which are recognized and agreed upon during the time of contract of sale are known as specific goods. Let us move on to the example TV, VCR, car, ring, and so on. These are all comes under the specific goods. Move on to the next point, that is ascertained goods. The goods which become ascertained after immediate formation of the contract of sale are termed as ascertained goods. Therefore, the goods which are determined out of bulk, ascertained goods, and the quantity released is identified and placed aside for a given contract is known as ascertained goods. So here ascertained will be formed only after immediate formation of the contract of sale. The goods will become ascertained. Now move on to unascertained goods. Means what? Unascertained goods means the goods which are difficult to get ascertained and or agreed upon at the time of the contract. Here the goods are difficult to ascertain at the time of contract of sale is termed as unascertained goods. These goods are explained merely by description and may form a part of lot. Let us move on to the example for unascertained goods. X, who wants to purchase a TV set, goes out to a showroom where 4 sets of 3 models of LG TV are displayed. He observes the performance of a specific set which he decides to purchase. So, X is the person who went to purchase a TV set and goes out to a showroom. Here 4 sets of 3 models of LG TV are displayed, but he observed the performance of specific one set he decided to purchase. The set decided to purchase is called as a specific set. When after purchasing one set, he marks a particular set, the marked set is considered as ascertained. Ascertained and the rest of the sets are considered as unascertained goods. I think you understood with this example what do you mean by ascertained and unascertained. So what means the set decided to purchase for specific set, so he marks for that, then it is called an ascertained, and rest of the set out of 4 he selected only one set, that one set what he decided to purchase is called as ascertained, which he is not purchasing, that rest of the 3 sets is called as unascertained. Now move on to the second classification of goods is future goods. Future goods will come under the section 2, subsection 6. The goods which are to be manufactured or produced or acquired by the seller after the creation of the contract of sale are termed as future goods. The goods which are manufactured or produced by the seller after creation of the contract of sale. Once you created, then he started manufacturing of the sale for the future purpose is known as future goods. The process of sale cannot take place in future goods. The process of sale cannot take place in future goods because The person cannot sell the goods which he does not possess. In future goods, contracting parties are not liable to discharge on non-acquisition or non-production. Here, these goods are not in existence and even not in possession of the seller at the time of contract of sale. Let us move on to the example for the future goods to make you clear. A agrees to sell crops to B and B is grown at his farm in Uttar Pradesh in the year 2010, season for a sum of rupees 2 lakhs. In such case, it is observed that it is an agreement to sell future goods and it is not a sale. Here A agrees to sell crops to B and B is grown at his farm in Uttar Pradesh in the year 2010. For this season for a sum rupees 2 lakhs. In such case, it is observed that it is an agreement to sell future goods and not a sale, and is not a sale. So that is called as a future good. Here, the goods which are manufactured or produced by the seller after creation of the contract are termed as a future goods. I hope you cleared. Let us move on to the third classification of good is contingent goods. The procurement of contingent goods mainly relies on contingency which may or may not take place. In contingent goods, non-acquisition leads to the discharge of parties, whereas non-acquisition or non-production of future goods does not lead to discharge of parties. Let us move on to the example for contingent goods. A agrees to sell B certain seasonal goods worth rupees 50,000. If C sells a similar goods to A, then this becomes an agreement. A agrees to sell B for certain seasonal goods worth rupees 50,000. If C sells a similar goods to A, then this becomes an agreement. To sell a contingent goods as availability of goods basically relies on its sale by C. So these are the different classification of goods. Just I'm giving about the full summary regarding the types of goods. Goods means every type of mobile property except actionable claims and money, and it includes stocks and shares or growing crops, grass and things of materials associated to it will be called as the goods. The contract will be always related to goods is contract of sale of goods. Here the contract, the seller transfers or agrees to move the property of goods to the buyer for specific price is known as the goods. Then we discussed about the classification of goods. In classification of goods, there are three types of classification of goods, that is existing goods, future goods and contingency goods. Under existing goods, it will be categorized into specific goods, ascertained goods, unascertained goods. And second classification of good is future good, and last one is the contingent goods. This is related to the goods and types of goods now we have discussed. Let us move on to the next topic, that is performance of contract of sale. Performance of contract of sale. In the performance of contract of sale, let us know that what do you mean by delivery, and then we'll move on to the performance of contract of sale. As per section 2 subsection 2, delivery of goods refers to the voluntary transfer of possession of goods from one person to the another person. As per section 33, delivery of goods would result into an effect of putting the goods in the possession of a buyer or his representatives. Buyers can directly have some degree of control over the goods, or can indirectly control through or with the help of his representatives. Here, buyers have some degree of control over the goods or can indirectly control through or with the help of his representatives, is known as delivery. Now move on to the performance of contract of sale. As per section 31, performance of contract of sale with reference to seller refers to the delivery of goods to the buyer, and with reference to the buyer it refers to acceptance of the delivered goods and paying for them, is known as performance of contract of sale. Here, seller is refers to the delivery of goods to the buyer, and with the reference to buyer it refers to acceptance of delivered goods on paying for them is the buyer's duty here. In this performance of contract, some of the rules associated with delivery under section 32 to 39. Let us see what are the different rules associated with delivery. Just now we have discussed what you mean by delivery of goods. Delivery of goods refers to the voluntary transfer of possession of goods from one person to the another person, is known as delivery of goods. Delivery of goods would result into an effect of putting the goods in the possession of buyer or his representatives, is known as delivery. Here some of the rules associated with delivery. The following rules associated with the delivery are as follows. The first one is mode of delivery. The first point is mode of delivery. Here, as per section 33, the delivery must lead to effective way of transferring the goods to the buyer or his legally authorized representative agent. So here, as per section 33, delivery must lead to in effective way. Means you have to transfer the goods in an effective manner to the buyer, and also legally authorized representative agent should be there for the delivery of goods. So this is the one of the rule associated with the delivery. Mode of delivery is very, very important rule. Second one is delivery and payment concurrent conditions. Delivery and payment concurrent conditions under section 32. The delivery and payment of goods should be in accordance with the terms and conditions of the contract. At the time of making a contract, the payment of goods will be mainly decided at the time of making the contract. So here, as per section 32, delivery of goods by the seller and payment of price by the buyer are concurrent conditions. Here means the seller should be ready and willing to transfer the possession of goods from him to the buyer on certain conditions. In exchange for price, and the buyer should be ready and willingness to pay for the price of goods in exchange for possession of the goods, is known as delivery and payment concurrent conditions. So here the seller should be ready and willing to transfer the possession of goods to the buyer. Once the buyer he should have, once he is accepting the goods, he should willingly pay the price for the goods in exchange for possession of the goods. Once he wants to take the possession of the goods, means he has to pay some price to the seller, then the seller will transfer the possession of goods to the buyer. The meaning of that is that delivery and payment concurrent conditions. So once you make a payment, So immediately the seller will deliver the goods to the buyer. And next comes to the next point, move on to the next point is effect of part delivery. Effect of part delivery under section 34, it means if only a part of goods are delivered, only if the part of goods are delivered with an intention of delivering, the whole would have similar effect of delivering the whole amount of goods in order to transfer the ownership of goods. Here, if only a part of goods are delivered with an intention of delivering, the whole would have similar effect of delivering the whole amount of goods in order to transfer the ownership of goods. But if only a part of goods are delivered with an intention of separating it from the whole, Lord, then it does not constitute as the delivery of whole of the goods. To make you clear, I'll give one example for you for the effect of part delivery. Here, A agreed to buy 4 quintals of paddy from B. Here, A is agreeing to buy 4 quintals of paddy from D. But A accepted only 2 quintals. D is selling the paddy here. That is to the D is delivering the goods to A 4 quintals of paddy, but A accepted only 2 quintals and paid for it. Whatever he is accepting the 2 quintals, he is paying for the 2 quintals and rejected rest of the other 2 quintals. So here what is happening here? This will constitute to a partial delivery. So a part of delivery he is taking back and rest of that he is sending back to the seller. That is nothing but effect of part delivery. Let us move on to the next point, buyer to apply for delivery. Buyer to apply for delivery is under the section 35. Here, the seller of goods is not subjected to deliver the goods. The seller of goods is not subject to deliver the goods until and unless the buyer asks the delivery. The demand for delivery and the tender of delivery should be made at the reasonable hour. Here, the delivery should be made at the reasonable hour. So, you can ask the buyer at what time we have to deliver the goods. Based on that condition, you have to deliver the goods. At whatever the time of making a performance of contract of sale, then what time you have agreed, based on that time you have to supply the goods to the buyer. The meaning for that is that. Now move on to the next point, place of delivery. For performance of contract of sale, one more rule is place of delivery. So, place is very important rule associated with delivery. The place at which goods are to be delivered should be mentioned in the contract. Here, the place at which goods are to be delivered should be mentioned in the contract. And goods are to be delivered during the working hours of the business. So, place also plays very important role at the time of performance of delivering the goods, and time is also very important. So, here the place at which goods are to be delivered should be mentioned in the contract, and goods will be delivered to that place itself during the working hours of the business place. This is also one of the important rule associated with the delivery. Move on to the next point, that is time of delivery. If there is a contract with respect to the time of delivery, then the goods are to be delivered within the agreed time. If there is a contract with respect to the time of delivery, then the goods are to be delivered within the agreed time. So whatever the time you agreed, you have to supply the goods to the buyer in that time. That is one of the very important rule in the delivery of goods. And if there is no contract with the respect to the time of delivery, if there is no contract, the buyer didn't say any time for the delivering of the goods, then the goods are to be delivered within the reasonable time. That is the meaning of that time of delivery. Move on to the next point, goods in possession of a third party. Goods in possession of a third party, section 36 under section 3, if suppose at the time of sale the third person handles the goods, then the seller cannot make a delivery to the buyer until and unless the third party accepts to possess the goods on behalf of the buyer. Here, goods in possession of a third party. Here, third party is involving for handling of the goods. So, at the time of sale, if the third party handles the goods, then the seller cannot make a delivery directly to the buyer, but unless and until the third person accepts to possess the goods on behalf of the buyer. So, here two parties should agree. One is buyer and another one is third party also should accept to possessing of the goods. So, unless and until the third party agrees, the goods cannot be possessed from third party to the buyer. So, here possess the goods on behalf of the buyer by the third party until and unless if a third party accepts. That is known as goods in possess of third party. Now, move on to the cost of delivery. Next point is cost of delivery. Cost of delivery is nothing but section under section 36 subsection 5. Unless otherwise accepted, all expenses of and incidental to delivering the goods into the state of delivery borne by the seller. Borne by the seller. But the expenses of and incidental to receiving of delivery or borne by the buyer. So, here expenses of an incidental to receiving the delivery or borne by the buyer. That is known as cost of delivery. Now, one more rule is rules associated with delivery is delivery of wrong quantity. Delivery of wrong quantity comes under section 37. The delivery of goods must be according to the terms and conditions of the contract. The delivery of goods must be according to the terms and conditions of the contract. If there is any defect in delivery, then the buyer has the right to reject the goods. Getting the goods, wrong goods, if the buyer is getting, any time the buyer can reject the goods to the seller. So, this is one of the important rule associated with the delivery is whenever the goods wrongly delivering to the buyer, so any time the buyer can reject the goods, and again delivery must be as per the terms and conditions of the contract. If there is any defect in the delivery of the goods, anytime you can reject the goods. Next, move on to the next point, installment deliveries. As per section 38 under section 1, the seller of the goods cannot deliver the goods in installment unless and until it is agreed upon at the time of contract. When you are making a contract, then if you are making I will provide the goods installment wise means then it will be acceptable. But if your goods cannot deliver here unless and until it is agreed upon at the time of a contract, even if he does, the buyer is into bound to accept the goods. So installment deliveries, if the buyer agrees for that at the time of a contract, then you can make, otherwise you cannot make that. Otherwise the buyer anytime, if he does, the buyer is into bound to accept the goods. Means if they are sending the goods, okay, you can accept. If installment wise, if they are delivering the goods, anytime the buyer can reject it when you are not making in the at the time of contract of sale. Means installment, if you are not taken into the matter, then definitely the seller should deliver the goods at right time and right quantity. They have to provide the goods. Let us move on to the 11th point, delivery to carrier or wharfinger. In order to carry out the contract of sale consistently, the seller is entitled and supposed to deliver the goods to a carrier with an intention of transferring the goods to the buyer or delivery of goods to wharfinger. For safe custody is a prima facie. Law agreed as correct unless and otherwise proved that is considered to be a delivery of the goods to the buyer is known as delivery to carrier. Thank you.